13 WMAZ Morning starts now.
Looking ahead to more storms today, an isolated storm or two could be strong to severe. I'll take you through it coming up.
And one Macon woman cannot even remember the last time she missed voting in an election. Coming up, I'll let you know what you need to know if you want to be like her and make your vote count this year.
Plus, you'll get to cast your ballot in statewide primaries today, the races you can help decide in across Georgia.
And questions on partisan ballots may have you confused. We'll tell you what they're used for just ahead. Good morning. You are looking live over a great start to the day on this election day, Tuesday, May 24th. I'm Caitlin Heck.
And I'm Wanya Reese. It's a very interesting look of downtown Macon.
It's
not sunny. It's not too cloudy. I don't even know what I would call it.
You know what? It's not raining. And so I'm going to take that as a good thing, Courtney.
That's right. Yeah, most importantly, it's not raining. That's all you need to know. It is fairly overcast. It does seem to be giving almost a blue hue to the sky cam here. But what I think is the coolest is the fog that's over the Ocmulgee River that you can see over the trees here. That's always fun to see. But yes, most importantly, not raining, and it does still feel very tropical out there, though. 67 in Macon with a dew point in the mid-60s. So despite the fact that our tropical system that moved through yesterday, that Invest 90L that brought us all the rain yesterday morning, even though that's out of the way, we are still feeling very tropical out there. 67 in Roberta, 68 in Forsyth, 68 in Dublin, 70 in Milledgeville, area-wide, generally mid to upper 60s with, of course, a few 70s sprinkled in there. We're at 68 in Unadilla and 67 in Butler. Through the day today, if you are planning on heading out to vote, and within the next few minutes or so, again, we'll be in the low 70s, upper 60s, cloudy skies. We should stay mainly dry through your lunch hour, but as we head into the afternoon and evening, so around the time you'll be headed home from work and school today, a few isolated storms will be possible, along with that chance for maybe an isolated severe storm. I'll time everything out hour by hour for you. It's in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Courtney. Today, Georgia voters will make their voices heard at the polls as May election day is here. Statewide, that means party primaries to decide which candidates move on to November.
Now, locally, you'll see items like commission seats and SPLOST votes on the ballot. While many Georgians will likely head to the polls today, hundreds of thousands in our state took the opportunity to go ahead and vote early. Georgians turned out in record numbers during the 3 weeks of early voting in the May primary.
The Georgia Secretary of State's office says more than 850,000 people cast their ballot. That's a 168% increase over the 2018 primary. They attribute that to short lines, easy ballot access, and confidence in ballot security. Early voting numbers are also high right here in Bibb County, with over 15,000 people casting ballots between in-person and mail-in votes. Our morning reporter TJ Anthony is live outside a polling place in Macon with more on Bibb County's early voting totals and what you need to know before heading out to the polls today. Good morning, TJ. We also heard that you spoke to one poll worker about what the voting season means to her. What did you all talk about exactly?
Yes, good morning, Caitlin and Wanya. Right now, I'm outside of Northeast High School. We are so excited for voting to go underway and so excited to give you all coverage. And I spoke to one Macon resident who's lived in Macon her entire life. Gloria Battle is her name, and she said voting is so important for her. She can't even remember the last time she missed voting in an election. Get this, since the late 60s. Check it out.
I have not missed an election that I can think of since I turned 18 back in the late 60s.
Macon poll worker Gloria Battle is serious about voting. Before she retired, she made sure to even get out and cast her vote.
When I was working, I would have to come in on voting day because I could get there before 7.
She was thankful she could vote by mail last voting season, and with the uncertainty of COVID-19 numbers rising again, she decided to cast her ballot by mail this year too.
Kind of on the safety precaution side, I went ahead and requested that absentee ballot just to be sure that I got my vote in.
And this year, Macon Bibb's interim election supervisor says the number of people that voted early in person was up.
We had a lot more people show up to vote in person, and I expect we'll have a good number of people showing up at the polling place as well.
The Bibb polling places will have sample ballots you can review before you cast your ballot too. In Macon Bibb, a little over 10,000 people voted absentee in person, and the county received a little over 1,500 returned by mail absentee ballots. If you're voting, be sure to bring a government-issued photo ID like a driver's license, and to make sure that you are registered to vote, go to the My Voter page on the Georgia Secretary of State's website, and for all other voting information, check out their site as well. That's all information that'll be useful if you're like Battle and her siblings and want to get out and vote.
It was just instilled in us to go do your civic duty to vote. It is important.
Yes, Caitlin and Wanye. And if you want to get out and vote, polling locations like the one behind me will be open today from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And do not forget your government-issued photo ID. Caitlin and Wanye, back to you.
Thank you so much, TJ. I'm glad to see that she is so dedicated to voting as well.
Very much so.
And a shout out to all our poll workers out there. They are working hard all day long.
That's a lot of hard work that they're doing there.
We are grateful for them. All right, let's catch you up on a few other important reminders if you are voting in person today or returning your absentee ballot.
First up, you can vote in this election as long as you registered by April the 25th. Now, where to vote? As you heard, you can use the My Voter page on the Georgia Secretary of State's website as a resource guide. Log in with your first initial, last name, the county you live in, and birthday to get more information on things like your voter precinct and registration status.
Now, if you choose to vote in person and you are in line by 7 o'clock tonight, you will still be able to cast your ballot. And remember, if you applied for an absentee ballot, you must return that by 7 tonight when the polls close. For military or overseas voters, make sure your absentee ballots are postmarked by today, and they have to arrive within 3 days, so by Friday.
If you're using a drop box for your absentee ballot, call your county registrar for available locations. What if you go out to vote today, but you're told that you're at the wrong polling location or that you registered in a different county? That's where a provisional ballot would come into play.
Now, the Georgia Secretary of State's office says it's a paper ballot that a voter uses when their eligibility to vote cannot be determined at that polling place.
If you have a good faith belief you are properly registered in your county, you have the right to vote a provisional ballot. If your county It will count if your county registrar's office can determine your eligibility within 3 days after Election Day.
Now talk to them about the steps to take if you have any problems at the polls today. And now that you are prepared to get to the polls, what can you expect to see on the ballot? Well, statewide, there are a number of key races voters will have a say in as candidates look to advance out of their party primaries and on to the November election.
So let's take a closer look at the ones that you'll see on the ballot, including those for top leadership positions in our state. First, the Republican primary for governor. Incumbent Brian Kemp and former U.S. Senator David Perdue are the front runners in that race.
Meanwhile, on the Democratic side, Stacey Abrams is running unopposed in the primary. Another key race is for lieutenant governor. State Senator Burt Jones, a Republican from Jackson, and State Senator Butch Miller, a Flowery Branch, are both polling double digits of the 4 Republicans in the race.
A total of 9 Democrats are running in their primary. That includes state representatives Eric Allen, Derek Jackson, and Renita Shannon, along with former U.S. Congressman Kwanzaa Hall.
Georgians will also select nominees for Secretary of State. Incumbent Brad Raffensperger and Congressional District 10 Congressman Jody Hice are the front runners out of 4 in the Republican primary. 5 candidates are running for the seat on the Democratic side. That includes former Milledgeville Mayor and former State Senator Floyd Griffin. The Democratic field also includes a former state representative, former Fulton County Board of Commissioners chairperson, current state rep, and a former chairman of the Cobb County Democratic Party.
Lastly, Senator Raphael Warnock's seat is up for grabs this November. Warnock is running against Tamara Johnson-Shealy in the Democratic primary. Agricultural Commissioner Gary Black, former Georgia Bulldogs running back Herschel Walker, and 4 other candidates are running in the Republican primary. That includes former state representative Josh Clark, along with Kelvin King, Jonathan McCullum, and Latham Sadler.
With many of these primaries featuring several candidates, a runoff may be inevitable. That's because a candidate must get 50% plus 1 vote to win their primary outright.
If not, the top 2 candidates will move to a runoff that will happen next month on June the 21st. Just a reminder, when you get out and vote today, you'll also likely see a series of questions on both the Republican and Democratic ballots. Those questions are chosen by the statewide parties, and they're different depending on which ballot you choose.
Republican voters are asked about building a border wall with Mexico and eliminating absentee ballot drop boxes. Democrats will vote on questions about legalizing marijuana and expanding Medicaid. Now, we spoke to a political science professor at Georgia College earlier this month who told us those questions just give the 2 parties a feel for the mood of the voters.
It also gives people a chance to say how they feel on certain issues. The questions are non-binding, though. If you're heading to the polls today, share your experience with us. Did you have to wait in a long line, or was it a smooth process? Did you notice anything unusual or any other problems? You can text your story to 478-752-1309.
And stick with 13 WMAZ as your source for all things election today. We'll track results across Central Georgia and the state on air and online as they come in. We'll also have live reports on top candidates in the race for governor and U.S. Senate. Join us on 13 WMAZ News starting at 5 and 6 tonight for our live team coverage. We'll hear from candidates ahead of the results and later at 10 and 11 when the winners are declared. All right, the time is now 6:40. Of course, you may need to have the rain gear if you're heading out to the polls later today, Court.
That's right. Yeah, definitely not going to be a bad idea if you plan on heading out past your lunch hour today. We're going to time all of that out for you coming up in just the next couple of minutes. So yesterday we did pick up a lot of rain. I want to start with that because these rainfall totals really impressive and much needed across the area. This definitely helped with our deficit and some of our drought-like conditions, although really where the higher drought conditions are, the more elevated drought conditions, I should say, those are mainly in our southeastern counties, and y'all were kind of left hanging yesterday. That low Invest 90L, so that tropical system essentially that rolled in and brought a lot of rain, especially along 75 and west of 75 yesterday morning. As that lifted, that outer rain band kind of missed y'all, but don't worry, we do have more chances for rain today. Anywhere between 3 to 4.5 inches of rain along this stretch of central Georgia where you can see this green, yellow, and red color there, and all of that rain was both from Invest 90L and then a stalled front that tracked along that helped fire up storms in the afternoon. That's still draped across the southeast, providing plenty of cloud cover, especially from about Houston County northward today. We do have some breaks in the clouds if you're south and east of Macon. That low now bringing rain to parts of Virginia, but that front today, what it's doing is trapping in all that tropical moisture. So as you head out the door today, you're going to notice it's muggy. It's also very warm out there. And as we start to heat up through the day, we'll also have that chance for showers and thunderstorms to fire up and potentially become severe. All the areas under a level 1 of 5 threat for severe storms, the timing between around 4 and 9, damaging winds, small hail, and of course those heavier downpours. So yes, if you are heading out to vote today, I know I got my peach during early voting. It's always fun to have that little sticker. If you're heading out around 7, so within the next few minutes or so, it is going to be a muggy morning with temperatures generally in the upper 60s, and we should stay dry through around your lunch hour. But then once we head into the early afternoon and into the evening, so if you're planning on heading out after work to go vote or closer to the time when the polls close, you can see that you could run into a few isolated showers and thunderstorms, a couple of which could become severe. The good news is the latest run of the graph really looks better for us, but nonetheless, you're still going to want to be weather aware if you're planning on voting between around 3 and 7 o'clock today, because we also have that potential for severe storms. Wednesday looks drier. We could have just a few evening showers. That's all going to be ahead of a cold front that will bring rain and storms. Rain and storms will be likely, in fact, as we head into Thursday afternoon and evening. The Storm Prediction Center already flagging us for the chance for severe weather on Thursday. The timing, we're going to make it fairly broad for now, late morning into the evening hours, so around sunset or so, but we'll fine tune that timing more so tomorrow. Just know that you'll have to be weather aware again on Thursday. So rain and storms possible all the way through Friday. Could pick up another inch or two of rain. And then Memorial Day weekend looks warm and wonderful with lots of sunshine.
Next on 13 WMAZ Morning.
Her, we're pretty much like the same person. We do most of the same things. We both play tennis, we both cheer, we're both in like multiple clubs.
Two best friends in Lawrence County are preparing to go to college together, but they share a bond that is way deeper than just friendship. Find out why these young ladies are our great grads.
Wildfires are beasts on their own, but did you know that fires can produce their own weather? I'm here to explain this uncommon phenomenon.